The morning sun rose over New Geneva like it had for the past 70 years. Children played in the crystal gardens while their parents worked in the floating towers that reached toward the clouds. Everything was perfect in the Kepler 442 system. Everything was peaceful. Lisa Park stood on her balcony watching the sunrise. She was 35 years old and had never seen violence. None of them had. The 7 worlds of Kepler 442 had been built by people who wanted to escape Earth's wars. They called themselves the Children of Tomorrow. They had no armies, no weapons, no police with guns. They solved problems by talking. They lived in harmony. Lisa worked as a mediator. When people had disagreements, she helped them find peaceful solutions. It was good work. Important work. She had helped settle thousands of disputes without anyone getting hurt. Violence was something from the old world, something their great-grandparents had left behind on Earth. The first sign of trouble came from the outer system. The mining station on Kepler 7 went silent. The colonists were not worried. Equipment broke sometimes. Ships got lost. It happened. Then Kepler 6 stopped responding. Lisa was in a meeting when the emergency broadcast came through. Governor Peter Watson's face appeared on every screen in the city. He looked worried. Lisa had never seen him look worried before. "Citizens of New Geneva," the governor said, "we have lost contact with 2 of our outer worlds. We are sending ships to investigate. Please remain calm. This is likely a technical problem." But it was not a technical problem. The ships they sent to investigate never came back. 2 days later, something appeared at the edge of their solar system. The sensors showed massive objects moving toward them. Objects bigger than cities. Objects that did not belong to humans. The aliens called themselves the Vex High Dominion. They did not come in peace. Their ships looked like giant sea creatures made of metal and flesh. They moved through space like whales through water. But these whales had weapons. These whales were hungry. The first attack came without warning. The defense platforms around Kepler 4 simply vanished. One moment they were there. The next moment they were gone. Turned to dust by weapons the colonists did not understand. Lisa watched the news reports with growing horror. These aliens did not want to talk. They did not want to negotiate. They wanted to harvest human worlds like farmers harvesting crops. The evacuation of Kepler 4 began immediately. Millions of people tried to escape on ships that were never meant for war. The Vex High let some of them leave. They seemed to enjoy the fear. They fed on terror like plants feed on sunlight. Dr. Amanda Cole was one of the few scientists who understood what was happening. She had studied the old Earth military records, things the colonists had tried to forget. "They are not trying to conquer us," she told the emergency council. "They are trying to harvest us. Our planets, our resources, our people. They have done this before. They have done this to 47 other systems." The council members looked sick. These were people who had spent their lives avoiding conflict. Now conflict had found them. "What do we do?" asked Council Leader Robert Davis. "How do we fight them?" "We cannot fight them," Dr. Cole said quietly. "We have no weapons. We have no soldiers. We have no idea how to wage war. We are farmers and teachers and artists. They are killers." The second world fell 3 days later. Kepler 3 went silent in the middle of the day. The last transmission was a scream. Lisa tried to keep working. She tried to help people stay calm. But how do you mediate with aliens who do not talk? How do you find peace with creatures who only understand death? The refugee camps were growing larger every day. People from the outer worlds crowded into New Geneva and the other inner planets. They brought stories that made Lisa sick. Stories of cities dissolved by acid rain. Stories of people taken alive to be studied. Stories of children who would never see their parents again. Mayor Sandra White called a meeting of all the city leaders. They gathered in the old assembly hall where their ancestors had signed the Charter of Tomorrow, the document that promised they would never again solve problems with violence. "We need to face facts," the mayor said. "We cannot stop these aliens. Our ships are not built for war. Our people do not know how to fight. In 6 months, maybe less, they will be here." The room was quiet. Lisa could hear people crying. Outside, children were still playing in the gardens. They did not know their world was ending. "We have one option," Dr. Cole said. She looked older than her 50 years. The stress was killing her slowly. "We can send a message to Earth." The room erupted. Everyone started talking at once. Send a message to Earth? Earth was the place they had run away from. Earth was violence and war and everything they had rejected. Earth has been fighting aliens for 100 years, Dr. Cole continued. They know how to make war. They know how to kill. Maybe they can help us. Council Leader Davis shook his head. Earth has its own problems. Why would they help us? We left them behind. We took our best and brightest and started over. We abandoned them. Because we are still human, Dr. Cole said. Because somewhere deep down we are still family. The debate went on for hours. Some people wanted to surrender to the aliens. Some wanted to try negotiating. Some wanted to run to another galaxy. But in the end, they voted to send the message. Lisa helped write it. She chose the words carefully. She knew this might be the last thing their civilization ever said to Earth. The message was simple. To our brothers and sisters on Earth. We are the colonists of Kepler 442. Our 7 worlds are under attack by aliens called the Vex High Dominion. They have already destroyed 3 of our worlds. They are coming for the rest of us. We have no weapons. We have no soldiers. We have no way to defend ourselves. We cry out for salvation. Send us angels to deliver us from this darkness. We know we left you behind. We know we chose peace while you chose to fight. But we are still your children. We are still human. Please help us. Time is running out. They sent the message through the quantum relay network. It would take months to reach Earth. The colonists of Kepler 442 could only wait and hope. Lisa stood on her balcony that night, looking up at the stars. Somewhere out there, alien ships were moving toward them. Somewhere out there, Earth was receiving their plea for help. She wondered if anyone on Earth would even care. They had made it clear that they wanted nothing to do with Earth's violence. Now they were begging Earth's violent children to save them. The irony was not lost on her. 3 more worlds fell while they waited for an answer. The aliens were not in a hurry. They seemed to enjoy taking their time. They wanted the remaining colonists to suffer. They wanted them to feel helpless. When the answer finally came from Earth, it was not what they expected. Admiral Jake Morrison's face appeared on their screens. He was a hard man with scars and metal parts where flesh used to be. He looked like everything the colonists had tried to escape from. We received your message, the Admiral said. We are coming. But understand this clearly. We are not the Earth you remember. We are not the people you left behind. We have been through hell and back. We have fought wars that would break your minds. We have no angels to send you. Angels are for times of peace. But we have something else. We have demons. And demons know how to fight. The transmission ended. Lisa felt cold despite the warm evening air. They had asked for salvation. Earth was sending it. But at what cost? Outside, the children were still playing in the gardens. They did not know that their childhood was about to end forever. Admiral Jake Morrison stood in the ruins of what used to be Geneva. The city had been destroyed and rebuilt 6 times in the last century. Each time it got darker. Each time it got harder. The elegant spires were gone now. In their place stood bunkers made of alien metal and human bone. Morrison was 63 years old. Half his body was machine parts now. His left arm was cybernetic. His right eye was a camera that could see in 17 different spectrums. His heart was artificial. Most of his organs were. You could not survive 100 wars with the body you were born with. He looked at the message from Kepler 442 again. The colonists sounded so innocent, so hopeful. They still believed in angels. Morrison remembered believing in angels once. That was before the Centauri War, before the Machine Rebellion, before the years when Earth's sky rained acid and the dead walked the streets, sir. Captain Lisa Kane stood behind him. She was 30 years old but looked 50. War aged you fast. She had killed her first alien when she was 12. She had been killing ever since. Her military record was classified. The things she had done would have gotten her executed on any civilized world. The colonists want help, Morrison said. They want us to save them from the Vex High. Kane laughed. It was not a happy sound. Save them, us? Do they know who we are? Morrison turned to face her. Kane was small but deadly. Her body was covered in scars from battles she had won by refusing to die. Her eyes were cold and empty. Morrison had seen those eyes before. In mirrors. In the faces of soldiers who had survived things that should have killed them. They know we fight aliens, Morrison said. They do not know what that has made us. The Earth Defense Force was not like other militaries. It was made up of survivors. People who had nothing left to lose. People who had stared into the darkness so long that they had become part of it. Captain Kane led the 1st Hellhound Battalion. Her soldiers were not heroes. They were criminals, murderers, war criminals who had been given a choice between death and service. They chose service because they were too mean to die. Commander Alex Cross ran the stealth destroyer UES Vengeance. His ship was built from the wreckage of defeated alien vessels. It was powered by dark matter stolen from creatures that lived between the stars. His crew was made up of volunteers who had signed up knowing they would probably never come home. Lieutenant Ben Hayes was Kane's second in command. He had been a child when the bioplague hit North America. He had watched his family dissolve into green slime, while aliens laughed at their pain. Now he specialized in making aliens suffer. He was very good at it. Sergeant Nicole Reed operated the weapon systems on Cross's ship. She had developed new types of ammunition, bullets that made targets die slowly, missiles that caused maximum pain before death. The Geneva Convention had banned her weapons. Earth no longer recognized the Geneva Convention. These were the people Morrison had to work with. These were Earth's best soldiers. The broken, the damned. The irredeemable Morrison called a meeting in the war room. The walls were covered with star maps showing alien invasion routes. Red dots marked dead human colonies. There were a lot of red dots. Kane entered first. Her boots were still covered in alien blood from the last mission. She never cleaned them. She said it sent a message. Cross came next. He moved like a predator. His eyes never stopped scanning for threats. Paranoia kept you alive when everyone in the universe wanted you dead. Hayes and Reed came together. They were partners in war. They had learned to trust each other because trust was the only thing that kept you alive in the dark between stars. Gentlemen, lady, Morrison began, we have a problem. The Kepler colonies are under attack by the Vexhai. Kane spat on the floor. The Vexhai are bastards. They like to take their time, make people suffer. I know, Morrison said. I fought them at Proxima Station. Nasty work. Cross leaned forward. What do the colonists want from us? They want us to save them, Morrison said. They think we are heroes. The room went quiet. Then Hayes started laughing. Reed joined him. Soon they were all laughing except Morrison. Heroes? Kane wiped tears from her eyes. They want heroes? Do they know what happened to our heroes? They are all dead, died in the first year of the war. They do not know us, Morrison said. They left Earth before the real fighting started. They still think we are the same species that built libraries and wrote poetry. Reed stopped laughing. What did you tell them? I told them the truth. We have no angels. But we have demons, Cross nodded slowly. And they still want our help? They are desperate. The Vexhai have already taken 4 of their worlds. 3 more to go. Kane stood up. She paced around the room like a caged animal. The Vexhai are tough, but they fight by rules. They have honor codes. They show mercy to children. And we do not, Hayes added. No, Morrison agreed. We do not. They spent the next hour planning the mission. It would not be a rescue. It would be an extermination. The Vexhai had made the mistake of threatening human worlds. They would learn why that was a bad idea. Kane would take her battalion down to the surface. They would show the aliens what real violence looked like. No prisoners, no mercy, no rules except winning. Cross would hunt the Vexhai fleet. His ship was designed to kill things bigger than planets. He would turn their bioships into floating graveyards. Hayes would handle psychological warfare. He would break the aliens' minds before Kane broke their bodies. Reed would provide the firepower. Her weapons would make the Vexhai wish they had never been born. There is one problem, Morrison said. The colonists. They are not going to like our methods, Kane shrugged. They asked for help. They did not specify what kind of help. They expect us to follow rules, laws of war. Geneva Conventions, Cross smiled. It was not a nice smile. The Geneva Convention was written by people who never fought aliens. People who thought war had rules. They learned better. Morrison nodded. The colonists would have to learn too. The universe was not a nice place. It was full of monsters, and sometimes you needed bigger monsters to fight them. Prep the ships, Morrison ordered. We leave in 6 hours. As the others filed out, Kane lingered behind. Admiral, she said, what if the colonists do not want our help after they see what we do? Morrison looked out the window at the ruined city. In the distance, construction crews were rebuilding the latest destruction. They had gotten good at rebuilding. They had to. Then they will learn that salvation comes with a price, he said, and some prices are paid in blood. Kane nodded and left. Morrison stayed at the window. He remembered Earth before the wars. Green fields, blue skies, children who played without fear. That Earth was gone now, dead and buried under the ashes of 100 battlefields. The colonists of Kepler 442 still lived in that old world. They still believed in good and evil, right and wrong, heroes and villains. They were about to learn that the universe did not care about such things. The universe only cared about who was strongest, who was most willing to do whatever it took to survive. Earth had learned that lesson the hard way. Now it was time for the colonists to learn it too. The ships launched 6 hours later. They did not look like rescue vessels. They looked like instruments of death, which is exactly what they were. Morrison watched them disappear into quantum space. He wondered if any of the colonists would thank him when it was over. Probably not. Heroes get thanks, demons get fear, but demons also get results. And right now that was all that mattered. The Earth ships arrived at Kepler 442 like ghosts in the night. They did not announce themselves. They did not send greetings. They simply appeared from quantum space and began hunting. Lisa Park watched from the observation deck of New Geneva Station as the first Earth vessel came into view. Her heart sank. This was not the sleek rescue ship she had imagined. This was something from a nightmare. The UES Vengeance looked like a predator made of metal and death. Its hull was black and covered with scars from 1,000 battles. Alien weapons were welded to its sides. Strange symbols were carved into its armor. It moved through space like a shark hunting for prey. Dr. Amanda Cole stood beside Lisa. She had studied Earth military history. She knew what those symbols meant. They were kill marks. Each one represented a dead enemy ship. There were hundreds of them. My God, Dr. Cole whispered. What have they become? The Vexi had been preparing for another harvest. Their bioships floated around Kepler 5 like giant jellyfish. They were dissolving the atmosphere slowly, taking their time, enjoying the process. Commander Alex Cross watched them through his ship's sensors. He felt nothing, no anger, no pity, no fear. Those emotions had been burned out of him years ago. He only felt hunger. The hunger to kill. Target the lead bioship, he told Sergeant Nicole Reed. Reed smiled as she armed the weapons. These were not normal weapons. These were things she had created in the dark spaces between stars. Weapons that caused pain before death. The first shot hit the Vexi mothership center mass. Instead of exploding, the ship began to scream. Its bio-armor started dissolving from the inside out. The creature that was the ship began to thrash in agony. The screams went out over all radio frequencies. Every Vexi in the system could hear their mothership dying slowly. Cross opened a channel to the alien fleet. This is Commander Cross of the Earth Defense Force. You made a mistake. You touched human worlds. Now you pay the price. The Vexi commander tried to respond. Cross cut off the transmission and fired again. On the surface of New Geneva, the colonists watched in horror as dropships began landing. These were not the clean white shuttles they remembered from Earth's golden age. These were battle-scarred monsters with weapons instead of windows. Captain Lisa Kane was the first one out of her ship. She wore power armor painted black and red. Her helmet looked like a skull. In her hand, she carried a weapon that hummed with deadly energy. Behind her came the 1st Hellhound Battalion. 50 soldiers who looked like they had crawled out of hell itself. Their armor was covered with alien blood and human bones. They moved like predators seeking prey. Mayor Sandra White came to meet them with a delegation of city leaders. She expected to greet heroes. Instead, she found herself facing something that made her want to run away screaming. Captain Kane, the mayor said, trying to keep her voice steady. We are so grateful that Earth sent help. Kane removed her helmet. Her face was covered in scars. Her eyes were cold and empty. She looked at the mayor like she was examining an insect. Where are the aliens? Kane asked. They are in the industrial district, the mayor replied. But please, we need to discuss rules of engagement. Civilian protection protocols, the laws of war, Kane laughed. It sounded like breaking glass. Laws of war? Lady, there are no laws in war. There is only winning and dying. Lieutenant Ben Hayes approached carrying a bag. He opened it and showed the mayor what was inside. Alien body parts, trophies from previous battles. These are Vexi command organs, Hayes said cheerfully. I collect them. Want to know what sounds they make when I cut them out? The mayor turned pale. Dr. Cole stepped forward. Captain, surely you follow some kind of military code. Some rules of conduct. Kane turned her empty eyes on the doctor. We follow one rule. Kill everything that threatens humans. Kill it slow if possible. The Hellhound Battalion moved out toward the alien positions. The colonists followed at a distance. They wanted to see their saviors in action. They were about to get their wish. The Vex High had taken control of 3 city blocks. They had built nests out of human bones and alien slime. Their warriors were 8 feet tall with claws like swords and teeth like needles. Kane did not try to negotiate. She did not demand surrender. She simply opened fire, but she did not aim to kill quickly. Her weapons were designed to wound, to cause pain, to make the enemy suffer before they died. The first Vex High warrior took a shot to the leg. It fell down screaming. Kane walked over and shot it again. In the arm this time. Then the other arm. She was taking her time. Please, the creature begged in broken human speech. Mercy. I surrender. Kane shot it in the face. Hayes moved through the alien positions like a ghost. He did not kill the Vex High he found. He captured them. Then he did things to them that made them scream. He broadcast the screams over the alien communication frequencies so their friends could hear. The other hellhounds fought like wild animals. They used weapons that were banned on civilized worlds. Acid guns, pain inducers, biological weapons that made their targets dissolve slowly. The colonists watched in growing horror. This was not a battle. This was a massacre. The Earth soldiers were not trying to win quickly. They were trying to make the aliens suffer as much as possible. Dr. Cole grabbed Kane's arm. Stop this. This is not war. This is butchery. Kane looked at her with those cold, dead eyes. Doctor, this is what war really looks like. This is what we have been doing for 100 years while you played house in your perfect little worlds. But they are surrendering. Some of them are wounded. You have to show mercy. Kane pointed at a pile of human bones that the aliens had been using as furniture. Did they show mercy to those people? Did they care about laws of war when they dissolved entire cities with acid rain? She walked over to a wounded Vex High that was trying to crawl away. She stepped on its back, breaking its spine. This is mercy, Kane said. I could keep it alive for hours. Make it suffer like the humans it killed. Instead, I will only make it suffer for minutes. She shot the creature in the head. In space, Commander Cross was hunting the Vex High fleet. His ship moved like a predator stalking prey. He picked off the smaller vessels one by one. Not with quick, clean kills. With weapons that made them die slowly. The Vex High tried to fight back. Their bioships launched swarms of fighter craft. Cross destroyed them with weapons that caused their pilots to feel every moment of their death. Reed was enjoying herself. She had been waiting months to test her new ammunition. Bullets that caused nerves to fire randomly. Missiles that kept targets alive while eating them from inside. Weapons that turned death into torture. The Vex High fleet commander sent a message. Human vessel. We surrender. We will leave your system. Cross opened a channel. No, you will die here. All of you, slowly, he fired again. Another bioship began screaming as it dissolved. On the planet's surface, the battle was over. The Vex High were all dead, but it had not been a quick death for any of them. The Hellhounds had made sure of that. Mayor White found Kane standing over a pile of alien bodies. The captain was reloading her weapon. It is finished, Kane said. The aliens are dead. All of them? The mayor asked. All of them. Even the ones who tried to surrender. Even the wounded ones. Even the civilians. The mayor felt sick. But why? Some of them could have been prisoners. Some of them might have had information. Kane holstered her weapon. Because dead aliens do not come back. Because fear is a weapon. Because the next aliens who hear about this will think twice before attacking human worlds. She walked toward her ship. Then she stopped and looked back. You asked for angels, Kane said. Angels forgive. Angels show mercy. Angels follow rules. But angels could not save you. Only demons could do that. And demons do not forgive. We do not show mercy. We do not follow rules. We just win. The Earth ships left Kepler 442 the next day. The system was safe. The Vex High were gone. The colonists were alive. But they would never sleep peacefully again. They had seen what their saviors really were. They had seen the price of salvation, and they knew that somewhere in the darkness between stars, Earth's demons were still hunting. The Vex High mothership was the size of a small moon. It drifted in the outer system like a sleeping giant. Inside its biochambers, millions of alien warriors waited in hibernation pods. This was the heart of the invasion fleet. This was where it would all end, major. Chris Johnson had been 12 years old when the aliens first came to Earth. He remembered hiding in the ruins of Detroit while bioweapons turned his neighbors into green slime. He remembered eating rats to survive. He remembered learning to kill with his bare hands because ammunition was too precious to waste. Now he was 35 and leading the assault on the Vexahai mothership. His soldiers called him the Ghost because he could move through enemy positions without being seen. But the aliens would see him today. He wanted them to see him before they died. The colonial leaders had begged Captain Kane not to attack the mothership. They said the war was over. The aliens were retreating. Why not let them go? Kane had laughed at them. Let them go? So they can attack another human world? So they can harvest more planets? No, we finished this here. Dr. Amanda Cole had tried to reason with her. Captain, there are millions of beings on that ship. Not all of them are warriors. Some are civilians. Some are children. Kane had looked at her with those cold, empty eyes. Doctor, when the Vexahai attacked your worlds, did they spare your children? When they dissolved your cities with acid rain, did they check for civilians first? The doctor had no answer for that. Lieutenant Ben Hayes was excited about the assault. He had been studying Vexahai psychology for years. He knew exactly how to break their minds. He had prepared special gifts for the alien leaders, things that would make them understand true fear. Sergeant Nicole Reed had loaded her ship with her newest weapons. She called them mind breakers. They did not just kill the target. They made the target's death screams echo through the ship's bioneural network. Every alien on board would feel their comrades dying. The assault began at dawn. Major Johnson's dropships cut through the mothership's hull like knives through flesh. The bioship tried to heal itself, but Reed's weapons had poisoned its repair systems. Inside the ship, the corridors were made of living bone and pulsing meat. The walls breathed. The floors bled when stepped on. It was like being inside a giant beast, which is exactly what it was. Johnson's soldiers moved through the passages like predators. They had fought inside alien ships before. They knew the layout. They knew the weak points. They knew how to cause maximum damage. The first Vexahai defenders they met tried to surrender immediately. They had heard the screams from the planet's surface. They knew what Earth soldiers did to prisoners. Johnson shot them anyway. Sir, one of his soldiers asked, should we not take prisoners? For intelligence? Johnson reloaded his weapon. Private, the only intelligence we need is how to kill them all. And we already know that. They fought their way deeper into the ship. The Vexahai threw everything they had at the humans. Warriors with claws like swords, bioweapons that shot acid, creatures that could change shape and hide in the walls. It did not matter. Johnson's soldiers had fought worse things. They had battled the machine collective that turned planets into factories. They had survived the plague wars where the dead walked and fed on the living. They had fought in dimensions where geometry itself was a weapon. The Vexahai were dangerous. But they were not the worst thing Earth soldiers had faced. Hayes reached the command center first. The Vexahai leadership was there, 5 ancient beings who had led the conquest of 47 star systems. They had lived for thousands of years. They had seen the rise and fall of civilizations. They had never seen anything like Ben Hayes. Hello, Hayes said cheerfully. I have been looking forward to meeting you. The lead Vexahai tried to speak with dignity. Human, we are prepared to negotiate. We can offer you technology, resources, safe passage for your people. Hayes opened his bag of tricks. That sounds boring. I have a better idea. What Hayes did to the Vexahai command staff took 3 hours. He made sure to broadcast it through the ship's communication system. Every alien on board could hear their leaders screaming, could hear them begging for death, could hear Hayes laughing. The colonial observers who had insisted on watching the assault turned off their screens. They could not watch anymore. They had thought war was about noble sacrifice and heroic deeds. They were learning that war was about inflicting maximum suffering on your enemies. In space, Commander Cross was finishing off the escort fleet. His ship danced between the biovessels like a shark among fish. He did not try to destroy them quickly. He wanted them to suffer first. Reed's new weapons were working perfectly. The alien ships died slowly, their biohulls dissolving from the inside out. Their death screams echoed across the radio spectrum. Any Vexahai who survived would remember those sounds forever. Cross opened a channel to the fleeing vessels. This is your only warning. Leave human space now. Never return. If we see you again, we will do worse than kill you. We will make you wish you had never been born. Some of the alien ships tried to fight back. Cross destroyed them with weapons that kept their crews alive long enough to feel every moment of their ship's death. The others ran. Back on the mothership, Major Johnson had reached the hibernation chambers. Millions of Vexi warriors floated in biofluid, waiting to wake up and join the conquest of human worlds. Johnson could have simply destroyed the chambers. It would have been quick, efficient, merciful. Instead, he woke them up one by one. He wanted each alien to see death coming. He wanted them to know fear before they died. The process took hours. Johnson's soldiers took turns. They made a game of it. Who could make an alien scream longest before killing it? Who could come up with the most creative way to cause pain? The colonial leaders who were monitoring the assault grew sick. This was not war. This was torture on an industrial scale. Dr. Cole sent a message to Johnson. Major, please stop this. You have won. The ship is yours. There is no need to torture helpless prisoners. Johnson's reply was cold. Doctor, these are not prisoners. These are enemies who were planning to harvest human worlds, who were planning to turn your children into food. They do not deserve mercy. He continued the executions. Hayes had finished with the command staff. Their bodies were arranged in artistic patterns throughout the bridge. He had left messages written in their blood. Messages that would terrify any Vexi who found them. Major, Hayes called over the radio. I have a present for you. Johnson found him in the ship's memory core. Hayes had connected one of the dying Vexi leaders to the ship's bio-neural network. The creature's death agonies were being recorded and transmitted to every Vexi ship in known space. Now they will all know. Hayes said happily. They will all hear what happens when you threaten human worlds. The assault ended 12 hours later. The mothership was dead. Every alien on board was dead. The few Vexi vessels that escaped carried word of Earth's brutality to the far corners of the galaxy. The colonists of Kepler 442 were safe. The Vexi dominion was broken. The threat was over, but the cost was becoming clear. Mayor Sandra White met with Admiral Morrison when he arrived to oversee the cleanup. She had prepared a speech of gratitude, words of thanks for Earth's help. She never got to give it. Admiral, she said instead, what have you people become? Morrison looked at her with his mechanical eye. We became what we needed to become to survive. What you will need to become if you want to keep living. But the torture, the executions, the way your soldiers enjoyed causing pain, Morrison nodded. War changes you. Each battle takes a piece of your soul. After 100 wars, there is not much soul left. He walked to the window and looked out at the stars. The galaxy is full of species like the Vexi, worse ones. They do not negotiate. They do not show mercy. They do not stop until everything human is dead. He turned back to face her. Your people spent 70 years building paradise. We spent 70 years learning to be monsters. Guess which skill is more useful when the monsters come calling? The mayor had no answer. She was beginning to understand that salvation had come with a price paid not in money or resources, but in humanity itself. The Earth ships prepared to leave. Their mission was complete. The Vexi were destroyed. The colonists were safe. But as Kane had said, they had not sent angels to save Kepler 442. They had sent demons, and demons always collected their due. The victory celebration on New Geneva was the quietest in the colony's history. The streets were clean again. The alien bodies had been removed. The blood had been washed away. But the memories remained. Lisa Park stood in her apartment looking out at the city. Everything appeared normal. Children played in the parks. People went to work. Life continued, but she could see the fear in their eyes, the way they looked over their shoulders, the way they jumped at sudden noises. They had been saved. The Vexi were gone. They should have been celebrating. Instead, they were trying to forget what they had witnessed. The Colonial Council had called an emergency meeting. Governor Peter Watson sat at the head of the table, looking like he had aged 10 years and 10 days. Around him sat the leaders of all 7 worlds, the ones who had survived. We need to discuss our future, the governor said. His voice was quiet, tired. Admiral Morrison wants to meet with us before the Earth forces leave. Dr. Amanda Cole shifted in her chair. She had not slept since watching the assault on the mothership. The screams still echoed in her dreams. What does he want? He says we need to make a choice. The choice arrived with Admiral Morrison. He entered the council chamber wearing his full military uniform. His mechanical eye glowed in the dim light. His artificial arm moved with precise, inhuman motions. Behind him walked Captain Kane and Lieutenant Hayes. Their armor was still stained with alien blood. They had not bothered to clean it. They wanted the colonists to remember what they were capable of. "Counselors," Morrison said. His voice was calm but carried the weight of 100 battles. "Your worlds are safe. The Vex High Dominion is broken. Their fleet is scattered. Their leadership is dead." Mayor Sandra White tried to smile. "We are grateful for your help, Admiral. Earth has saved us." Morrison's expression did not change. "We did not save you. We bought you time. Maybe a few years. Maybe a decade if you're lucky." The silence in the room was heavy. Dr. Cole spoke first. "What do you mean?" Morrison activated a holographic display. It showed a map of the galaxy. Red dots marked hostile alien territories. There were hundreds of them. "The Vex High were not the worst thing out there," Morrison said. "They were just the closest. There are species that make the Vex High look like gentle farmers. The Krill swarm that devours entire solar systems. The Shadow Collective that turns planets into slave factories. The Death Singers who kill with sound itself." He pointed to several red zones near human space. "They are all moving this way, following the expansion of human colonies. In 5 years, maybe 10, they will be here." Governor Watson leaned forward. "But surely the Earth Defense Force can stop them too." Kane laughed. It was a sound like breaking glass. "Governor, Earth has been fighting non-stop for a century. We lose more ships every year. More worlds go dark. More soldiers die screaming in the void." Morrison nodded. "Earth cannot protect you forever. We have our own battles to fight, our own worlds to defend." The room grew colder. Lisa Park felt her heart sinking. "Then what do you suggest?" Morrison's mechanical eye focused on her. "You learn to protect yourselves." The silence stretched on. Finally, Council Leader Robert Davis spoke. "Admiral, we are not soldiers. We are farmers and teachers and artists. We came here to escape violence, not to embrace it." Hayes stepped forward. His scarred face was smiling, but his eyes were dead. "That is what the Vex High were counting on. That is why they chose your worlds to harvest. Easy targets, soft people who would not fight back." Dr. Cole stood up. Her hands were shaking with anger. "Are you suggesting we become like you? That we turn our children into killers? That we abandon everything we believe in?" Morrison walked to the window. Outside, colonial children were playing in a fountain. They looked so innocent, so pure. He remembered looking like that once before the wars started. "Doctor," he said quietly, "I was 15 when the first alien fleet attacked Earth. I believed in peace, too. I thought violence was wrong. I thought there had to be a better way." He turned back to face the council. "I learned that the universe does not care what you believe. It does not care about your morals or your principles. It only cares about who is strong enough to survive." Captain Kane walked over to the holographic display. She pointed to Earth's location. "My homeworld was called Paradise Valley. Green fields. Blue lakes. 2 billion people living in harmony." She pressed a button. The image changed to show a dead world. Gray ash, poisoned oceans. Twisted metal where cities used to stand. "The Machine Collective came when I was 8 years old," Kane continued. "My parents tried to negotiate. They believed in peaceful solutions. The machines turned them into spare parts while I watched." She looked at the colonists with those empty eyes. "I survived by learning to be worse than the machines. By becoming something that could fight monsters without flinching. Without mercy. Without soul." Hayes walked to the center of the room. "The choice is simple. You can stay soft and die when the next threat arrives. Or you can let us teach you to be hard." Mayor White shook her head. "There has to be another way. Some alternative to becoming like you." Morrison's artificial laugh was harsh. "Mayor, do you know how many civilizations have said that exact thing? How many species tried to find a third option?" He activated the display again. Now it showed dead worlds. Hundreds of them. Thousands. "They all found their third option," Morrison said. "Extinction." The debate went on for hours. Some council members wanted to accept Earth's offer of military training. Others wanted to refuse and hope for the best. A few suggested evacuating to another galaxy entirely. Lisa Park listened to them argue and felt sick. These were good people trying to make an impossible choice. Stay innocent and die or become monsters and live. Finally, Governor Watson called for order. "Admiral, if we accept your offer, what exactly would you teach us?" Kane answered. How to kill efficiently. How to torture information from prisoners. How to destroy enemies without mercy. How to sleep at night after committing atrocities. Dr. Cole gasped. You want to turn us into war criminals? Hayes shrugged. War crimes are written by the winners. The dead do not file complaints. Morrison stepped forward. We will teach you to survive. Nothing more. Nothing less. The methods are ugly, but they work. And if we refuse? Governor Watson asked. Morrison walked toward the door. Then you die with clean consciences, which is more than most species get. He paused at the threshold. You have 48 hours to decide. After that, we return to Earth. The next time aliens come to harvest your worlds, you will face them alone. The Earth officers left. The council sat in stunned silence. Lisa Park was the first to speak. We do not really have a choice, do we? There is always a choice, Dr. Cole said desperately. We could try to find another solution. What solution? Mayor White asked. Hope that the next aliens are friendlier than the Vexi? The vote was closer than anyone expected. 4 worlds voted to accept Earth's training. 3 voted to refuse. Governor Watson had the deciding vote. He looked around the room at these good people. These innocent people who had never hurt anyone, who had built paradise among the stars. I vote yes, he said quietly. God forgive me, I vote yes. 6 months later, the first military academy opened on New Geneva. The instructors were volunteers from Earth's most brutal units. They taught courses with names like Advanced Interrogation and Psychological Warfare, and Mass Casualty Operations. Lisa Park enrolled in the first class. She told herself it was for her children, to protect them from what was coming. The lessons were hard, not just the physical training but the mental conditioning, learning to turn off empathy, learning to see enemies as things instead of beings, learning to sleep after doing terrible things. Many students dropped out. They could not handle what they were becoming. But enough stayed. Enough learned. A year later, when the Krill Swarm Scouts arrived at the edge of the system, they found something they did not expect. The soft humans were still there, but they were not soft anymore. The Krill Scouts never reported back. Their ships were found weeks later, drifting empty in space. The crews had been taken apart piece by piece, studied, tortured for information, then killed in ways that would terrify their species. Admiral Morrison received the report on Earth. He smiled for the first time in years. Not a happy smile, a satisfied one. The colonists had learned well. Too well, perhaps. They had asked for angels to save them. Instead, Earth had sent demons. Now the demons had taught the angels to be demons too. The galaxy had become a darker place. But darkness was what kept the light alive, and sometimes that had to be enough.